Do you want to learn effective ways to build relationships, generate sales, and grow your business from successful entrepreneurs, startups, and CEOs without listening to a long interview? If so, you've come to the right place. Gresham Harkless values your time and is ready to share with you precisely the information you're in search of. This is the IAM083 podcast.
Hello. This is Gresh from the IAM083 podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Melissa Ronda of The Honest Way. Melissa, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And what I want to do was just read a little bit about Melissa so you can hear about all the awesome things that she's doing and she's been able to accomplish. Melissa Ronda is a certified weight loss nutritionist and wellness coach who helps women reclaim their bodies from the unrealistic expectations of the diet industry. Since launching The Honest Way in 2014, she has helped over 500 women lose well over 17,000 pounds and counting. Even more important than that, they keep it off with a mindset shift and systems learned from the program. Melissa is a lover of all things girl power. She's a meal prep maven and hopefully your new best friend. So Melissa, it's great to have you on the show. Are you ready to speak to the IAM083 community?
I am.
Awesome. Well, the first question I usually have is just if we could learn a little bit more about you and what kind of led you to start your business, your CEO story.
Well, most people, their journey starts somewhere in their 20s or 30s. Mine started when I was 6 weeks old.
Oh, wow.
That sounds crazy, right? But my mother, she brought me to a Weight Watchers meeting when I was 6 weeks old. And I was a chunky baby, Gresh, but I was not there to be on Weight Watchers, but my mom was. She was nursing, so she brought me with. And the lady that was running the meeting, circa 1979, she holds me up in the air and she says, "Ladies, you could lose this entire baby." And all the ladies clapped because I was 15 pounds at the time. And so I was really indoctrinated into this diet lifestyle very, very early. And I watched my mom either be on Weight Watchers or be eating fried chicken, be on Jenny Craig, or entire bags of potato chips. And so I had learned that there was definitely this feeling of unrest and never being enough, always wanting to be smaller and not being able to consistently obtain whatever that idea, beauty and skinny and little body was. So I grew up obese. I grew up really insecure. And that really affected so much of my life. I actually did not get into this version of my body until I was about 32. And I just had enough at that point, and I decided to go at things differently. It changed my life so dramatically that I quit my job. I was a paralegal. I quit my job. I went and got my certification, and I decided to start my own business because I had such a message that I wanted to speak so loudly to women that I knew that I had to make a dramatic shift in my career. And that is how I started The Honest Way.
Awesome. Well, it's great and definitely, courageous of you to be able to, of course, tell that story, but also to be able to kind of redirect your path as how your environment was going. Because I know sometimes we become a product of our environment, but for you to see you wanted to make a change and actually do that, I definitely think you're doing something awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And now I wanted to hear a little bit more. I know you have your story, and I know there's a lot of people that are probably dealing with similar stories or similar kind of expectations that they're trying to reach or to fight with. So could you tell us, I guess, a little bit more on what you're doing as far as helping out your clients and how that goes?
Yeah, I think that, there's these expectations out there. There's a lot of programs with women with rock hard abs telling you what you should be doing to look like them, when really what we need to do is say, what do I want my life to look like? And I think that's really the difference, is that I really encourage people to say, what is your end game? And I don't mean what's your end game, I want to be in a size 2. I mean, how do you want to live your life? Do you want to go to a baseball game and eat nachos? Do you want to have popcorn at the movies? Do you want to have cake at your daughter's birthday party? So if that's the case, then let's deconstruct it from there and start practicing skills of flexibility instead of looking at restrictions. Because a lot of times we want to look like the size 2 fitness model, but we don't want to have to do what she has to do to look like that. And so there's a misconception out there for ladies, and we just feel like we're never enough. And for me, that I hate the feeling that women feel that way. And so I really work with them to just really undo all of that garbage. That's the best way to put it.
Right. That makes perfect sense. And, having those expectations and trying to kind of pattern yourself according to that, but then not wanting to kind of want to do the things that it takes to do that. But it's good because it sounds like a lot of, sometimes I use the word like lifestyle changes. So it's things that you can kind of continue to do for the rest of your life, but you're not just trying to do that just to fit into your bikini for this summer or something like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got to love the whole entire process. I think what happens is we get an unrealistic expectation of what we think we're going to look like. And then the whole process, we're changing, we're growing, we're becoming so strong, such amazing women, but we're never happy because we don't look like that woman. And the fact of the matter is, we may never, a lot of us have had kids, I was obese. My goal body is the body that I have now. And we can't keep looking at other women's bodies and thinking that we're less than because we don't look like that.
Right, exactly. And I imagine that a lot of the industry probably pushes those images in order for people to feel like they have to take that next fad or do that next diet in order for them to, of course, generate more revenue.
Yep. And that's what it's about for them. And it's really disheartening when I see those ads scroll across Facebook all day.
Yeah, but it's great that you're doing something about it. So a lot of people aren't. And it's awesome that you're able to kind of try to combat that as much as you can. So now I want to ask you for what I call your quote unquote secret sauce, or kind of what do you feel kind of distinguishes you or makes you unique?
Well, it was really important for me to have the word honest in my name because I am extremely honest. And it's pretty funny, some of the stuff that I post. I really try to speak to like what women are actually thinking, maybe not exactly what they're saying. So that's definitely something that I'm known for on Facebook for sure. But I also think that I don't like to get real fancy with science or complicated ingredients, because for the majority of us, we can still get the results we want by eating chicken tacos. We're just going to eat chicken tacos a little bit different way than you're used to. So I really work to create meal plans that are very exciting for women and not intimidating. It's very obtainable changes that we can make. So I like to just keep it really simple and not overcomplicate it.
Yeah, and that makes it, I guess probably, and you can definitely let me know if this happens with your clients, where it's also more, they're able to execute it a lot better just because it's not like they have to get out their I guess the periodic table or something to figure out exactly what needs to go into what dish. They actually can do it in a very simple way. So it kind of lowers the barrier and lowers kind of the fear of wanting to do that.
Yeah, and it's sustainable that way too, because you can keep up a game for like 3 weeks. You could do that 21-day fix, right? But if it's too far away from what makes sense for you and your family, it won't last. So it has to be so simple that just takes one less obstacle out of your way.
That makes perfect sense. Awesome. And now I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask you for what I call a CEO hack. And CEO hack could be a book or an app or a habit that you have, but it could be one thing or a few things that you do to make you more effective and efficient as an entrepreneur and business owner.
I would say get a community. I have the most amazing friends in business. And I think that working from home when you have an online business can really be lonely, because you're spending so much time building this dream and people around you might not get it. They don't understand how you can eat, sleep, and breathe this thing. So my hack would be find some friends that get you, because that has been invaluable to me, to be able to bounce ideas off or just have someone that understands my excitement level and my level of passion. And when you can surround yourself with like-minded people, it's, rising tide. Everyone benefits from it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Finding your tribe, because, entrepreneurship and owning a business is lonely in and of itself. And then when you couple that with, starting an online business where, sometimes you're spending time in front of the computer or in front of social media sites, then it can be even more lonely. So I definitely think that's a great CEO hack about trying to find your community and to be able to kind of lean on them and build off of them.
Yeah, because you spend a lot of time talking to your dog otherwise.
Yes.
Not that that's bad. He just doesn't tell me anything back. So.
Exactly. I have the same problem with my dog. She doesn't give me any good advice. She just barks at me. So I guess that could be a good or bad thing. I just can't translate.
Funny.
Awesome. Now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. And this CEO nugget could be a word of wisdom or piece of advice or something that you would tell your younger business self.
Oh man, this one, I love this. Okay. Because so I was afraid to invest in my business for a long time, and I would just take profit and that was my paycheck. And I will tell you, hindsight is 20/20, right? But if I would have invested in a really top quality coach earlier, I can't even imagine where I would be now. I think that sometimes feel like afraid to ask for help, or we're afraid to invest in that commitment. But the commitment is actually what catapults you to that next level. So I, for the first time ever now, I have a business coach, and the first time in 4 years, and my growth has just been insane. So know that you don't need to know everything. Know you don't know what you don't know, and hire someone who knows the things that you need to know.
I love that. Yeah. Again, speaking on how lonely it can be to own a business and run a business, to be able to have somebody that can hold you accountable, but also make sure that you're reaching your goals and you're doing all the things that you need to do to reach your goals is definitely important. So I think that's a phenomenal CEO hack and a CEO nugget. I'm sorry. And now I wanted to ask you for what is my favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. So we're hoping to have different CEOs on this podcast. So I wanted to ask you specifically, what does being a CEO mean to you?
Well, to me, I look at it as I get to be in my zone of genius all of the time. When you run your own show, you can tap into, like, there may be specific days that, see, I love to create all my own content. And so on days that I'm feeling really inspired to share some sort of word of wisdom, that's when I write. When I am looking to create new recipes and I'm like, yes, it's almost fall and maybe I should create some new cold weather recipe, and I do that. And when we have a career that we're forced to live by someone else's rules and expectations, we're pushing against the tide of what's natural. And we all have flows of like creative genius at certain times. And so being a CEO to me really means that I get to do what I want, when I want, which means I'm always giving my best self.
I love that. It's all about authenticity and, of course, honesty, right? So I think that kind of rings true to most CEOs, entrepreneurs, and business owners. So, Melissa, I truly appreciate you for taking some time out of your schedule. What I wanted to do was see if there is anything additional you want to let our readers and our listeners know and how best they can get a hold of you.
Well, I think the best place to find me is on thehonestway.com. And we spell way like you weigh yourself. So WEIGH, but that's definitely where you can find me. I sprinkle my love in there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. We'll make sure to have those links in the show notes so that anybody can follow up with you. And thank you for being, completely authentic and completely honest. And I truly appreciate you and all that you're doing to help out the world. And I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the I Am CEO podcast powered by Blue 16 Media. Tune in next time and visit us at IAM083.co. IAM083 is not just a phrase, it's a community. Be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. Subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating. Grab CEO gear at www.ceogear.co. This has been the I Am CEO podcast with Gresham Harkless. Thank you for listening.